Imagine waking up, not in your bed, not in a hospital, not anywhere familiar. You open your eyes and the sky above you is the wrong color. It's not blue. It's not gray. It's a deep, bruised pink, like the sky is bleeding. The ground beneath you is rust-red dust. The temperature outside your suit is negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And the nearest human being? You check your oxygen. 47 hours left. You check your comms. Static. You check your mission log, and that's when you see it. A note from the people who sent you here. And it reads, "If you're reading this, the primary mission has failed. You are not expected to return. Godspeed." This is not science fiction. This is the story of what humanity is actually planning to do on Mars, and what the first human beings sent to that planet will actually face the moment something goes wrong. Welcome back to the Cosmos Vault, the place where the universe stops being a textbook and starts being the most terrifying, beautiful, mind-bending story ever told. Today, we're going somewhere no human has ever physically stood. We're going to Mars, but not the Mars of glossy NASA posters and Elon Musk highlight reels. We're going to the real Mars, the one with dust storms so massive they swallow entire continents, the one with radiation levels that would give you cancer faster than a pack-a-day smoking habit, the one where every single system keeping you alive, your oxygen, your heat, your water, is one software glitch away from becoming your coffin. We're going to follow one hypothetical mission, one astronaut, one catastrophic failure, and what the science tells us would actually happen next. Because here's the thing. NASA, SpaceX, and the European Space Agency have all run the numbers. They've war-gamed the disasters. They've modeled the worst-case scenarios. And what they've found should either terrify you or make you fall in love with human courage all over again. Stay with me till the end, because the truth is stranger than fiction. Before our astronaut even touches Martian soil, Mars has already started trying to kill them. The journey from Earth to Mars, at the closest orbital window, which only opens every 26 months, takes between 6 and 9 months. That's not a long flight, with bad movies and dry pretzels. That's half a year floating in a metal can, roughly the size of a studio apartment, with no gravity, no fresh food, no sunlight worth mentioning, and no way home. In 2015, astronaut Scott Kelly spent 1 year aboard the International Space Station as part of NASA's famous twin study. When he landed, his spine had lengthened by 2 inches. His eyeballs had literally changed shape from the fluid pressure in his skull. His DNA expression, the way his genes turned on and off, had measurably changed. And the ISS is only 250 miles above Earth. Our Mars astronaut won't have the luxury of emergency evacuation. There's no escape pod pointed at home. Once you leave Earth's orbit, you are committed. But here's the twist that most people never hear. The radiation exposure during that cruise phase, in open space, beyond Earth's magnetic shield, is equivalent to having a full-body CT scan every single day for 6 months straight. NASA's own research from the Mars Science Laboratory mission in 2012, using the RAD instrument aboard the Curiosity rover, calculated that a single round trip to Mars would expose an astronaut to 1.01 sieverts of radiation. That's roughly the threshold where your lifetime cancer risk starts climbing in ways that are hard to ignore. And you haven't even landed yet. You arrive at Mars broken, irradiated, and weaker than when you left. And that's when the real mission begins. Here's something that should wake you up at night. Mars has an atmosphere. Just enough of one to be dangerous, but not nearly enough to be useful. The Martian atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide. If you cracked your helmet for even 5 seconds, you wouldn't just suffocate. The CO2 would force itself into your bloodstream, and you'd lose consciousness in under a minute. But here's the sinister part. That atmosphere is just thick enough to create atmospheric heating during entry. The same deadly fireball that destroyed Columbia in 2003, but too thin to slow your spacecraft down the way Earth's air would. Engineers call this the 7 minutes of terror. In 2021, the world watched as NASA's Perseverance rover plunged through the Martian atmosphere at 12,100 miles per hour. It had to deploy a supersonic parachute, fire retro rockets, and lower itself on a sky crane, a hovering jetpack robot, all in 7 minutes, all autonomously, because a radio signal from Earth takes between 3 and 22 minutes to arrive. By the time Mission Control knew Perseverance was entering the atmosphere, it had already landed or already crashed. For a human mission, that sequence is even more unforgiving. But our astronaut makes it. The dust settles, the hatch opens, and the first thing they see is a horizon so flat, so alien, so impossibly red that every reference point their brain has ever built, every sunset, every mountain, every color they've trusted their whole life, feels suddenly unreliable. The twist, what our astronaut doesn't see, is the danger that's already started the clock. Beneath the surface of Mars, perchlorate salts, toxic chemicals, lace the soil. NASA confirmed this via the Phoenix lander mission in 2008. Any dust that gets into the habitat, onto a glove, near the food system, slowly poisons. Not dramatically, not instantly, just steadily. Like a slow leak in the most important pipe in your house. Mars doesn't need to kill you fast. It's patient. It starts as a smudge on the horizon. By the next morning, the sky, which is already that eerie butterscotch pink, turns dark orange. By afternoon, it's almost brown. The solar panels drop to 15% efficiency. The temperature inside the habitat starts to fall. And the comm window with Earth, already a 20-minute delay each way, becomes unreliable as static builds. A global Martian dust storm has arrived. These aren't like anything we have on Earth. In 2018, a global dust storm engulfed the entire planet of Mars, all 55.9 million square miles of it, and it lasted for months. It was this exact storm that ended the mission of NASA's Opportunity rover, which had been operating since 2004. Opportunity's final transmission, when engineers tried to wake it up, was interpreted beautifully, heartbreakingly, as, "My battery is low and it's getting dark." For our astronaut, this isn't poetry. This is a survival scenario. With solar power crippled, they fall back on the nuclear battery, the same multi-mission radioisotope thermoelectric generator, or MMRTG, powering the Curiosity and Perseverance rovers today. But power rationing begins. Heat rationing. Oxygen recycling efficiency drops. And here's the gut punch twist. The storm also grounds any potential emergency return vehicle. Even if rescue were possible, it's not. Not for months. No rocket can safely launch through a global Martian dust event. Our astronaut isn't just stranded on Mars anymore. They're stranded inside the storm, inside Mars, with a dwindling clock, completely alone. This is where the story changes, because in that darkness, in that dust, something remarkable happens, something the mission planners actually designed for, buried deep in the contingency protocols that most people never read. Our astronaut pulls up the Emergency Agriculture Protocol, inspired by, and this will sound familiar, the scenario popularized in Andy Weir's The Martian, but now grounded in real NASA research. In 2021, scientists at the University of Florida announced they had successfully grown plants in actual lunar soil returned by Apollo missions. The same principles apply to experimental Martian regolith, with modification. Our astronaut has a small greenhouse module, nutrient packs, modified soil bacteria from Earth that can survive Martian conditions in a pressurized environment. Real research being done right now at institutions like NASA's Ames Research Center in California. They start growing food. Meanwhile, they do something else the protocols call for. They begin mapping the subsurface using a portable version of the radar technology aboard the SHARAD instrument on NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which, since 2006, has been detecting evidence of water ice and possible liquid water beneath the Martian surface. And here's the revelation that changes everything. Beneath a lava tube, a hollow underground tunnel formed by ancient volcanic activity, which scientists have confirmed exist on Mars using orbital imaging. Our astronauts' instruments detect a pressure anomaly, a thermal signature, not geological, not mechanical, something that pulses. NASA has known for years that Martian lava tubes could be one of the most significant places in the solar system. In 2022, researchers published findings in the journal Nature Astronomy, confirming that these subsurface tunnels could maintain temperatures dozens of degrees warmer than the surface. They'd be shielded from radiation. They could trap water vapor. They are, in the most literal scientific terms, the most habitable places on Mars, possibly harboring microbial life that survived the death of Mars's surface billions of years ago. Our astronaut, alone, low on power, storm raging above, descends anyway. Because at this point, survival and discovery have become the same thing, and what they find changes the entire framework of the mission. Not a rescue, not a return, but proof, the first empirical, undeniable evidence that Mars once harbored life. Microbial fossils, preserved in the cool, dry dark of a lava tube, untouched for 3.5 billion years. The transmission takes 22 minutes to reach Earth at that orbital distance. Mission Control receives it in silence, and then, for the first time in the history of human space exploration, the confirmation comes back. You're not the last hope for the mission. You are the mission. They sent one person to Mars to die. That person became the reason humanity never stops reaching. Fact 1. Did you know that a day on Mars, called a sol, is only 39 minutes and 35 seconds longer than an Earth day? It's one of the eerie similarities that makes Mars feel almost familiar. Almost. Fact 2. Did you know that the largest volcano in the entire solar system sits on Mars? Olympus Mons stands 13.6 miles high, nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest, and its base is so wide it would cover the entire state of Arizona. Fact 3. Did you know that Mars once had a magnetic field, just like Earth's, that protected it from solar radiation? About 4 billion years ago, that field collapsed. Without it, the solar wind stripped away Mars's atmosphere and its oceans. Yes, Mars had oceans, evaporated into space. What happened to Earth's magnetic field is, to this day, one of the most important open questions in planetary science. Fact 4. Did you know that NASA's Ingenuity helicopter, which flew on Mars for the first time in April 2021, was carrying a small piece of fabric from the original Wright brothers flyer from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in 1903 to the skies of an alien world? 118 years of human flight stitched into a 4-pound helicopter on another planet. That's not science. That's poetry. Here's the thing about Mars that I can't stop thinking about. Every probe we've sent, every rover we've landed, every photograph of that red, desolate, heartbreakingly beautiful world. It's all just us. Humanity, refusing to accept that we are the only interesting thing in a universe 93 billion light-years wide. The astronaut in our story isn't real, yet, but the science is. Every single piece of it. And somewhere right now, the men and women who will make that trip are training, studying, and quietly preparing themselves for a journey that might ask everything of them. We sent them into the depths of Mars. They became our last hope, and they found we were never alone. If this story moved you, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find the Cosmos Vault. Subscribe so you never miss a chapter of the greatest story ever told, and drop a comment. If you were that astronaut, would you make the descent into that lava tube? As for next week, we're going somewhere even darker. Scientists have detected a signal repeating every 157 days from deep space, and no one can explain what's sending it. Same time, Same vault. The cosmos is waiting.